every now and again, a really special product comes out and ends up being used in probably every Netflix show you've ever watched, maybe every movie you've ever watched over the past decade. It gets updated a couple of times, version 2, version 2.5, or was it 2.6? Can't remember now. And then time goes on, it still continues to be an extremely useful tool, but you start to reach for a little bit more. And then lo and behold, they lay it on us. Omnisphere 3. If there's one library that I've used more than any of my other libraries, it is this one. So when I found out it was being updated to part 3, it was an absolute no-brainer upgrade. I couldn't wait to give them my money. Now this product is way too big and way too expansive for me to cover in a single video. So what I'm going to try to do is just highlight the most important new features that you might be interested if you're looking into upgrading. Keep in mind, Spectrasonics never runs sales. This product will likely never go on sale. Somehow they've managed to maintain the same file size as Omnisphere 2, which I think is 64 gigabytes, something like that. No idea how they've done that. They've added 18 new libraries of sounds. 18. Some cool new global controls. There's mutations. There's quadzone. All kinds of other stuff. Let's dig right in. You get the idea. That's just a small taste. I mean, I could sit here for weeks and not get through every single sound that's in this library. Let's take a quick look at the newly redesigned interface. So what they've done is they made it a lot easier to find sounds. Thank God, because you could spend hours and hours and hours looking for sounds. So we have this main directory, which gives you all the different kinds of libraries. They still have the existing legacy libraries, and if you own other products like Keyscape, Trillion, of course, they also still pop up in there, as well as the Sonic extensions if you have any benefit libraries. I do have the Sonic extensions Undercurrent, which I bought not that long ago, only because I was starting to want to reach for more sounds, and lo and behold, they drop Omnisphere 3. Hopefully by clicking on those things, it'll get you the sound close to what you're looking for, and then you can choose your categories, and then it'll bring it down here. So I think back in the day, I would end up using a full browser. I feel like I don't really need to go in there anymore. I feel like I can do everything from this main window, which I really, really like. Kudos to the team for redesigning and making it easier to find. Of course, you can also do a search. Previous patches from Omnisphere 2 have been remastered and thrown into the new redesigned engine. I don't even know what sounds are new and which ones are old. Maybe there's a way to know that by looking at it. You guys will probably recognize a lot of the sounds. Big and Slow Air, I feel like, is one of the older ones. I feel like I recognize that one. That being said, they're all nice and categorized for you now. I'm not going to go over the old features a whole lot because we'll be here all day, but let's check out some of the new ones. On our main window, we have these new global controls, which is incredibly useful. You have filters, unison controls, you got your envelope controls. This whole global controls is really, really nice to have. Now, if you click on your individual layers, you still have individual controls for whatever sound sources are part of the patches, but it's really nice to have some global controls. My favorite part of the global controls is this ambience control. So let me demonstrate that. So you see you have a really nice control over the reverb and length. A whole lot of processing going under the hood, especially these vibrato controls. And then, of course, you have your individual controls. You have your effects. You can add new effects just like in past. They've added a whole bunch of new racks. Another really cool thing about the effects, you can now add these effects and drop them on any channel. How cool is that? So they don't have to only be used within your Omnisphere patch. Let's jump ahead to the quadzone. So we have a couple of patches here. I go back to the main, I click on quadzone, and then I click on this little magnifying glass. This will open up to 4 patches. You see these ones are not highlighted. So we can go back to our main panel layers, and we can click on these to activate the other layers. Go back to the quadzone, and now we have 4 different sound sources. Right now they're stacked on top of each other. And there's 3 different ways that you can do the quadzone. Start with notes first. So this is just a nice little way of taking your sounds and allocating them to different sections of the keyboard, like so. So now when I play the lower part of the keyboard, it'll be assigned to here, this part here, and so on and so forth. Let me demonstrate. There you have it. So these are assigned to different parts of the keyboard. That's one way you can do it. You can do it based on velocity. So your velocity will trigger these different sound sources. Let's try that out. So there you go. That might work better with a percussive kind of patch, but you get the idea. Probably this is the most useful. This is going to be used for your fader. So you can do a MIDI learn, sign into, use whatever controller you have. And now I can control these using a little knob. So I can fade them in. So we're going to fade these bad boys in. Stretch them right out. And we have our noise. Let's bring this back a little bit. Juno sub sound, we're going to change this up to something different. I'm going to turn down a little bit. Okay, go back to the quad zone. So now as I adjust my fader, it's going to gradually fade into each one of these layers. Let's try that out. You get the idea. Okay, so our noise patch is a little noisy. You just go back into your layers and you're like, the noise is a little bit too much. Let's bring that volume down. Let's bring this one down a little bit. Go back to the quad zone. Maybe you just make this a little bit more gradual. Okay, and bring this up a little bit. Let's try that again. I could play with this all day long. Okay, I'm going back into the global controls. I want a little bit more kind of ambience. So let's fool around with this a little bit. And the oohs, I'd like a little bit more of them. So let's go into the layers. The female breathy oohs are a little bit quiet. We're just going to pump that right up. Still a little bit too much of this, a little bit too much of that. Okay, let's go back into our quad zone, try that out. Et voila. You can have so much fun with this. This is a really highly programmable, very, very cool feature. Literally one patch, 4 sound sources, get a fader in there, and you can do all kinds of really cool things. All right, let's talk about one more really cool feature. This is called mutate. So say you get something that you like. Let's just change it up here. Afterglow shimmers. So this is our starting patch. All right, we're gonna hit mutate. From what I understand, this is not a shuffle button. It's using algorithms to find similar sound sources. With a touch of a button, we've created a new patch in Omnisphere that nobody else has. This is really cool. So I'm just gonna hit it a few times. We're gonna see what sounds we can come up with. I think the more times you hit it, the more crazy it gets, and then it saves these as presets in here just automatically, so you can always go back to them. If you want to hear what we started with, just hit the back button. Voila, we're back to the original sound source. This is tons of fun. I think a really quick way of exploring the library and really coming up with your own patches. You can go in there and you can process them individually go into each of the layers, go into the effects, and just go nuts, change things with the global controls. Pretty wild stuff. There's tons of other new features. I can't possibly get to them all, but I thought that these were the most interesting ones that caught my attention. So I created a short project using only Omnisphere sounds. We got some pads, we got some oil cans. The only thing I did was do a little bit of EQ, ran it through Lander's mastering plugin, and that's it. I'll just play it for you. Upgrade price for Omnisphere 2 owners is $199 US. This is a no-brainer upgrade. I mean, if you love Omnisphere 2, you're going to love number 3. I mean, it's an absolute no-brainer. Tons of new content, tons of new features and way of shaping the sound. This is not a sponsored review. Spectrasonics doesn't even know that I exist. This is fantastic stuff. Absolutely love this library. Incredibly useful, incredible bang for your buck. Do keep in mind, like I said, never goes on sale ever. So do you have to go out and get the upgrade right away? No, I don't think so, because you might want to save your cash for a couple really exciting libraries coming out. One specifically coming out next week. Save some cash. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe, hit that like button. Please do join my mailing list for exclusive savings on my course offerings. That's it for now. I'll catch you in the next one.